Some troubles all year. Let's see what happens here. It's Warren on the pitch. Warren takes it close. Trubisky over the middle, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Julian Blackmon.
Okay, so this was a play that led Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver George Pickens to come under heavy criticism this week after fans called him out for his lack of effort during the Steelers' 30-13 loss to the Colts last Saturday. And you could see from this clip, Pickens just showed zero lack of care to make a block for his teammate right by the goal line. Steelers running back Jaylen Warren could have possibly have scored had he received just the slightest of a blocking effort from his teammate. Anyways, following the game, George Pickens had a few choice words for the media, and Jaylen Warren actually criticized his wide receiver for his failure to block and provide an opening in the end zone. But first, I gotta say something about the Steelers wide receiving core. I made a few videos about these receivers in the last couple years, but what the F has actually happened to the culture there? This was an organization that was renowned for their receivers, but ever since AB started his drama with Ben Roethlisberger and the organization, things have just quickly spiraled downhill. I mean, after Antonio Brown left, we had that whole shenanigan with Juju Smith-Schuster and his logo TikTok dances on the field prior to game time. Then who can forget all the bullshit surrounding Chase Claypool when it was reported that the receiver wanted music to be played in team practices to make it more fun, or when he showed zero awareness in a game against the Vikings when he celebrated a first down and held the football too long, costing his team crucial time on the clock when they were down by a score with less than a minute left in the game. Then after getting his ass bounced out of Pittsburgh for a second round pick to Chicago earlier this season, Chase was involved in another couple incidents. One coincidentally related to this video, as in the game against the Packers in Week 1, Claypool did the same thing George Pickens is being criticized for after he showed a lackluster blocking effort throughout the game. Then a few weeks later, he would then go on to criticize the coaching staff, which resulted in him getting traded to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, what is really going on there over in Pittsburgh? It's hard to imagine a great coach like Mike Tomlin hasn't been able to get his receivers all in on the Steelers culture. Anyways, listen to what George Pickens had to say following the game after he was asked about the play from a reporter.
The Jaylen Warren run toward the end zone, what'd you see on that? And would you handle that differently if you had to do it over again?
No, I was just trying to prevent the Tank Dell situation, the same thing that happened to Tank Dell. I didn't want to get an injury. When you stay on the block too long, you can get ran up on very easily.
So some people are questioning your effort.
Yeah, all the people that's questioning my effort, down play football, they do what y'all do.
So George, when asked about the play from the reporter, what he'd do differently if he could do it all over again, said he didn't want another Tank Dell situation and that he didn't want to get injured. He said that when you stand up on those blocks, you can get run up on. I mean, how tone deaf does one have to be to say something stupid like that? Injuries are part of the game. Yeah, it sucks if you get injured, but you can argue that any play, you are at risk of an injury. I mean, come on, man. And this was right at the goal line in the first quarter of a 0-0 ball game. I don't even understand how that thought is even in the back of his head. Usually, players are so focused and all their movements are just done without second thought. On top of that, he has taken plenty of plays off this year, so it's really hard to believe anything he says. I don't know if he's just butthurt about the quarterback situation, but it still doesn't excuse his comments. I mean, there's literally video highlights I found of him blocking all throughout last year. I mean, take a look at these plays. He's certainly not afraid to put his body in front of opposing players. That's why it just seems like the youngster has just given up on the season or something, because none of this makes any sense. Also, I gotta put some blame on Coach Tomlin. The Steelers receivers have serious attitude diva issues that seem to have plagued the locker room, especially on younger receivers. Like I mentioned earlier, you had the AB, Juju, Chase Claypool, and even Deontay Johnson had issues of a lack of effort a few weeks back. On top of that, look at the other clip I found of George Pickens after Trubisky threw the ball way over his head. I mean, where the fuck is he running to? Anyways, guys, what are your thoughts about the issue the Pittsburgh Steelers are having with their young receivers? Does any of the blame go to Mike Tomlin for not correcting these type of behaviors?